Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and I know it's been a while since I've done a review. I've been busy, but the main reason is my editing program crapped out on me, and I had to get a new program, which cost money, and I had to make sure I could fit it into my budget. But I've got a new editing program, and so I'm back to reviewing, and today I'm talking about Stolen Away by Kristin Dearborn. This is from Raw Dog Screaming Press. And this is the story of Trisha. She's a single mother. She has two children, Braden and Courtney, and she had Courtney with her at the time boyfriend Joel. They're broken up at this point in the story. But Braden was the product of one night stand, and his father comes in the middle of the night and takes Braden away. And so Trisha wants to get Braden back. The only problem is Braden's dad might not be human. And this book starts right off. Boom, Braden's gone. Trisha is woken up with to the sound of Courtney screaming that a monster took her baby brother away. So, boom, we're into it. And this is a really good book. Joel gets involved. Joel is a tattoo artist. Both Trisha and Joel are ex-drug addicts. They've lived pretty wild, rough lives, but they're both trying to get their lives back together. Excuse me. Trisha, again, being a single mom, no longer doing drugs as much as she might want to, not going out partying, being wild, but she is having a rough time of it. But damn, she loves her kids, and she's not going to let anybody or anything take her son away from her. So, like I said, right off the bat, Braden is gone. And Trisha freaks out, and at first she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't really do anything. She just sort of shuts down. And Joel gets involved because Courtney calls him up, and she's freaking out. She's like, "Daddy, something's wrong with Mom, and I haven't eaten in a long time." So Joel shows up, and then the shit really hits the fan. It just gets crazy. And I'm not going to tell you how crazy it gets, because I don't want to give it away. You really got to just... So close to the beginning, things get wild. There's one scene very early on that just made me fall in love with this book. It's the kind of thing that is shocking, and I read this and I was like, all right, this is an author I like. She's willing to go to places that I think a lot of authors aren't willing to go. It's a horrible scene, but it's probably my favorite scene in the book, which says something about me. Probably not something good about me, but I thought it was, again, it's so shocking that you know you're in for one hell of a ride, no pun intended. So this is, again, the story's just about Trisha and Joel trying to get Braden back, and we find out that after Trisha and Joel had broken up, she wanted to go out and just party and just do something stupid, and she ended up going to this club with a friend of hers, hooks up with this guy who, really, what did you expect? He's got demon tattooed on his back. So that can't be a good sign, but so she has this one night stand. And so this is a very violent book, a very bloody book, a very disturbing book, which is all good stuff. Like I said, there's some scenes that really push things past the edge, which is great. The characters. It's been a long time since I've read something with I'm going to call them fringe characters, for lack of a better term. I'm not sure the best way to put it, but a lot of the horror that I've read recently, the characters are, I don't want to say normal people because I mean Trisha and Joel are normal people, but um, a lot of the horror I've read, they're vanilla people, maybe, for lack of a better term. They're they're like, well, like me. I live in a normal city. Um, I don't do drugs. I do have tattoos, but I'm pretty well. Actually, for this town, I'm probably pretty fringe, but um, pretty normal. And a lot of the horror I've heard recently, those are the types of people. They're people with 9 to 5 jobs, people with uh, relatively happy homes, and so this is. It's been a long time since I've read a story where the main characters are drug addicts or ex-drug addicts or people that aren't what um, most people think of as normal people. I suppose you know they're not middle of the road average. I suppose maybe that's the best average. They're not average people. Um, and it seems like I used to read quite a bit of horror where the main characters were not average people, but lately um, it seems like everyone's pretty average, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, if the characters are well written, and I'm using average as a very general term, obviously, hopefully, when you're reading something, your characters are all distinct. But trying to get this point across, hopefully, I've done it without babbling too much. Um, these are not Trisha and Joel are not 9 to 5 people. They're not in happy, normal relationships. But they are fascinating characters. They're well written characters. You're going to feel for them as much as you might look at Trisha, especially at the beginning, and be like, you know what? Maybe you deserve this. Look at the shit you've done. You know, look at you. Your son's gone and you just break down and do nothing. You shut off. But that's just the initial reaction, her initial reaction to what happened, and maybe the reader's initial reaction to the character. But you're gonna get to know her, and you're gonna start to feel for her. You're gonna see that she's a better person than that. And Joel doesn't come off quite as negatively, for lack of a better term, when we meet him. Although he does have some shady dealings with people, and that comes into play. There's some criminals that are after Joel, and they get involved in everything. Um, but anyway, none of this is negative in any way. I'm just sort of talking about what I was thinking while I was reading the book. Um, because there really isn't much anything negative to say about this. It's a great story. It's well written. The characters are fantastic. Joel's mother, who is one of those average people, or maybe above average because she's wealthy. But it's an interesting dichotomy between Joel and his mother, because he's, for lack, again, a lot of this, for lack of a better term, I'm going into, but he's the rebellious son. She's very disappointed in the way he lives his life. She's not happy at all with Trisha, and she's certainly not happy that Trisha seems to be back in Joel's life. Um, but she gets caught up in the story, and these criminals get caught up in the story, and it's all Trisha wants is to get her son back, and she goes into some dark places. The writing goes into some dark places, and just when you think maybe they've gotten out of the darkness, they get pulled back in. Um, and so, yeah, this has been kind of rambly, but it has been a little while since I've read this, relatively speaking. So, trying to keep all my thoughts together. So, Kristin Dearborn, definitely an author I'm going to keep my eye on. Um, really a good, freaky, wild, horrifying, sad, fun story. Uh, I don't think you can ask for much more in a horror novel. Plus, it's got that cool cover. So, my rating for this, I screwed up. I didn't screw up the rating, I screwed up the drawing because, again, it's been a while since I read it, and I may have superimposed something from a movie over this. So there's a scene that, for some reason, I thought involved a stroller, but then looking at the book really quick before recording this, I saw that it was actually a tricycle. But I was thinking it was a stroller, so my picture for this is, well, you'll see. I gave Stolen Away by Kristin Dearborn 4.5 out of 5 baby carriages. And I know I said I thought it was a stroller, but baby carriages were easier to draw. So 4.5 out of 5 baby carriages, even though the scene I was thinking of when I drew that was actually a tricycle. Still, easier to draw than a tricycle, and it involves a baby, so baby carriages are still appropriate. But anyway, yeah, absolutely, I recommend this. Keep your eyes on this author. I'm looking forward to whatever she's doing next. There's some hardcore stuff in here, and just good writing, good characters, good violence. So as always, I will have a link for the book, 1 or 2 links for this book down in the description below. Please, the comments. Please comment in the comments below. See, it's been a while since I've recorded one of these. I forget what I say at the end of these. Comments will be open for spoilers. Oh, I know what I say. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments will be open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here. Please like, share, and subscribe. See, I'm getting back into the groove of it. So that's it for this episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.